In the beginning of the story, we are shown Paul floating on the French coast. That's when bubbles begin to form around him. And when he looks up, a strange portal is formed above. He realizes that the same kind of portal is around him. After this, he comes back home. Here he finds out that there is a problem in the water supply. He goes down to the basement. His daughter also goes with him. And when he is repairing the water connection, his daughter says that there is only one fish in our fish tank. We need more fish. Paul refuses. He says that our cat has already eaten the other fish. We should protect it. And now his daughter sees that there is a spider there, which scares her. But Paul says that the spider does nothing. After which he comes up with his daughter. He has dinner with his wife and daughter. Actually, Paul's life is very simple. 2 days later, it is shown that when Paul wakes up in the morning, his clothes have all grown very big. Paul does not understand anything. He goes to work. After working hard all day, when he comes home, he has dinner with his family again. His daughter says that I want you to tell me a story. Paul says that I am tired. Tomorrow I will tell you a story. But his daughter gets angry and goes to her room. Because one day before Paul said the same thing. That's why Paul goes to him and tells him a story. And now the next morning when Paul wakes up, he sees that his clothes have grown bigger than before. Paul's wife says that maybe you have lost your weight. Paul says that if I have lost weight, then its length should not be long. His wife says that maybe you should go to the doctor. And now he goes to the doctor for a checkup. The doctor checks his entire body. He also checks his height, which is 176 centimeters. Whenever Paul finds out, he is surprised. He says that earlier my height was 180 centimeters, which is now 4 centimeters less. The doctor says that you are completely normal. This is only because of aging. After this, Paul goes to work. And when he is working wearing a helmet, his helmet slips from, but when he checks the name in the helmet, it is his own helmet. After this, he comes home. He tries to sleep at night. But again and again he gets visions of the portal of the same cloud that he saw while swimming, because of which he does not sleep. And now he goes to exercise so that he gets tired and sleeps. But this also has no benefit. His wife comes there and takes him to the bed with her. The next morning when he is taking a shower, he sees that the height of the shower has already increased a lot. Also, the wedding ring in his finger also falls down on its own. And now Paul is convinced that something strange is happening to him. 18 days ago, he saw that portal which was made of clouds. Since then, his life has completely changed. He goes to his wife, and his wife is surprised to see him, because his height has also become less than that. She takes him to the hospital where his entire checkup is done, and everything in his body is normal. And now his height has become 165 centimeters. That is, he has become 15 centimeters less than his normal height, because earlier his height was 180 centimeters. Also, his weight is 63 kilograms, which was 73 kilograms earlier. That is, he has reduced 10 kilograms. The doctor is also completely confused about his case, because before today, such a case has never come to him. She admits Paul to the hospital, but soon Paul realizes that he is wasting his time here. That's why he comes back to his house. A few more days pass, and now Paul's height has become less than before. When he sits on the chair, his feet do not touch the floor. Also, he has completely disconnected himself from the outside world. He does not meet anyone. Neither does he call anyone, nor does he receive anyone's phone. He also talks very little to his family. And now a few more days pass. Paul's size has already become very small, due to which his wife and daughter are very worried. Paul's wife says that we should leave our daughter at her grandparents' house until we solve your problem. She asks Paul if there is a place where you want to go. Paul says, yes, there is only one place where I can go, and that is the circus. A few more days pass. And now Paul is also afraid of his cat, because she is much bigger than him in size. That's why Paul's wife takes out the cat and locks the door of the house from inside. It's been 2 months since Paul's size has been getting smaller, and now his height is equal to a mobile. He sees that his cat is staring at him from outside the window, seeing which he gets scared. After a while, Paul's wife comes home. He sees that there are some people with his wife. That's why he gets scared and hides under the bed. Actually, he doesn't come in front of anyone now. Paul hears that those people are talking about buying his house and precious things. Paul is very sad to hear this, because he had made this house with all his heart, so that he can live here all his life. Now when those people leave, Paul comes out and tells his wife that whenever you bring someone home, tell me first. I will hide. He is also angry that his wife is selling this house without his permission. She says that we have run out of money. There is no source of earning. We will have to sell this house. Actually, a lot of money is being spent in Paul's treatment. But now Paul refuses to get his treatment. He says that I have no medical issues. I am completely normal. I don't want to be a lab rat for any doctor on whom he experiments. Arguments start between the two. Paul's daughter is also seeing all this, and then Paul's wife screams loudly. Her voice is so loud that Paul is about to fall from above. Paul's wife apologizes to him and leaves the house. There Paul sees that his daughter was seeing all this. A few more days pass, and now Paul has become so small that his daughter keeps him in her dollhouse, where everything for Paul is according to his height. Paul likes it here. His daughter also plays music for him, after which he dances with his doll. Paul likes it for a while. Now at night he goes to his wife's bed. His wife puts her hand down. He climbs on it and comes to the bed. The next day Paul is shown who is making something with thread and hook to catch fish. At the same time, his cat who is outside the house. She opens the pet door and comes inside, seeing which Paul is very scared. He accidentally falls on the hook to catch fish, by which he gets injured, and his biggest problem is his cat in front of his eyes. He saves his life and runs away from him. He goes inside the dollhouse, but the cat also comes there. That's why he runs inside the basement door, and the cat also puts her claw there, so that she can catch Paul. While Paul is behind, he falls down the stairs and falls unconscious. After a while, when he comes to his senses, then he calls his wife. His wife has now come home, who looks at Paul's shirt on which there is blood, seeing which she gets scared. At the same time, Paul is calling him, but his voice is not so loud, so that his wife can hear his voice, because now he is like an insect. His wife comes down to the basement, but she can't see Paul, because he falls inside the box. Paul calls him, but even now his wife can't hear his voice. That's why the cat comes there. Paul's wife thinks that the cat has eaten Paul. Screaming in anger, she follows the cat, while Paul has understood that he will have to help himself. He tears the cloth and covers his body. At the same time, he makes a belt for himself. He finds a hole to get out of the box. When he comes out, he first picks up his needle, which he can use like a weapon, and then he realizes that there is something very dangerous around him. Actually, this is the same spider that his daughter was afraid of. And now, to save his life, the water heater tank there, he goes under it, which is still leaking. He bathes in that water, cleans his wounds, and spends the whole night under it. The next morning he hears his daughter's voice, the one who is calling him. He also answers his question, but it is of no use. His voice is not so loud, so that his daughter can hear. He sees that the stairs are so high, on which he cannot climb, and before he could find a way to he hears the sound of a car. He understands that his wife and daughter have left this house, because he thinks that Paul has been eaten by a cat. He finds a square piece there, with which he writes his name on the floor, so that the person coming here knows that Paul is stuck here. At the same time, Paul is hungry. Then he sees that there is a piece of cheese in the mousetrap, with which he can satisfy his hunger. First of all, he activates the trap, after which he eats cheese. Then the spider comes from behind the needle he has with him, which is now his weapon. With that he drives the spider away, and now with a small nail, he makes a hole in a box and goes inside it, so that his life is not in danger. Those days pass even more. One day Paul hears some sounds in his house, which is not of his wife and daughter. He understands that someone else has bought his house, and then someone opens the door of the basement. Paul shouts loudly, but it does not have any benefit. The person leaves from there. Paul gets very disappointed. There is a bottle of wine there, with which he makes a hole in the cap. He drinks a lot of wine, with which he gets drunk. He sees that the spider is watching him from above. There is also a fish tank here. And now, Paul climbs up, and then the spider comes there. Paul takes out his needle, that is, his weapon. The spider leaves from there, but then he comes from behind and pushes him, with which Paul falls into the fish tank. And now he sees that the spider is waiting for him outside. That's why he swims and goes down. For a while he keeps swimming with the fish, and when the spider leaves he comes out, after which he gives his food to the fish. Because he has been hungry for many days, he tries to eat that food himself, but his taste is so bad that he could not eat that food. Now at night the spider attacks him. Again, he takes out his needle, his weapon, and attacks him. But this time the spider does not leave him. She takes him under her control. She is on Paul. But before she eats Paul, Paul attacks her and screams loudly, afraid of which she runs away from there, and she feels very cold. That's why he takes out a matchbox. He has been trying to take it out for many days, but today he succeeds in taking it out. In the same way, he lights a fire and warms himself. Paul has now accepted this life. That's why he exercises every day to keep himself healthy. In the same way, a few more days pass, and one day the basement door opens again. He sees a man coming down from above, who is talking on the phone. He wants to scream loudly and make him feel his presence, but his normal voice also seems very loud to Paul. That's why he closes his ears and goes behind the stairs. Actually, he is having a headache because of such a loud voice. After a while that man leaves from there. When Paul comes out and sees, he finds out that the man took the fish with him from here, who was his only companion. A few more days pass like this, and one day the net on the window, a mosquito comes in from there, who looks at Paul carefully and leaves from there. And now Paul realizes that his size has become so small that he can get out of the window net, what he had thought before. But then his size was big, and now Paul starts climbing the wall. This is as high as the Himalayas for him. He gets very tired while climbing up. After this, he starts moving towards the window. There is a spider's net there, which means that the spider is nearby. He easily crosses the net, but by mistake his elbow hits the net, by which the spider finds out that someone is here, and now Paul is in front of him. Paul accepts his defeat. He has understood that this is the end of his life. But then an insect gets stuck on the spider's web, by which the spider leaves him and goes from there to hunt that insect. Paul's life is saved, and now he reaches the net while walking, but he sees that the size of the hole in the net is still small. He will have to be smaller. Paul is so tired that he sleeps there. The next morning he wakes up. He sees that the ants are biting his feet. He kicks the ant, by which the ant falls down. The spider comes up to catch the ant. Paul sees that once again his life is in danger, but now his size has become so small that he can get out of the mosquito net. The spider looks at him from the other side of the net. They both look at each other for a while. Paul remembers that the way he was left alone after the fish. Now the spider is also left alone. After this, he comes out of there. He sees that the grass there is much bigger than that. Then a butterfly comes there, which looks at Paul carefully and flies away from there, after which Paul looks at the stars and thinks about his daughter. There his daughter is shown, who herself is also looking at the stars. And she is remembering her dad, that is Paul. But Paul is satisfied now, because he has accepted the truth of his life. This story teaches us a lot, that how in today's world, while comparing yourself with others, man considers himself very small, because of which he has to face big challenges in his life, because of which he also gets away from his companions. Today is the world of social media, where a person is completely alone in the family despite being among his friends, which is very difficult to change. But still, if we work hard and make the right path of our life, then one day we will definitely be free from this prison of loneliness. The way Paul finally gets out of that house, that basement, and breathes under the open sky, he has accepted his life. He has understood that this is the